This is the Jerry Hicks Show, your home for common sense content 5 nights a week, right here on the Censored Freedom Network. Now, here is your host, Jerry Hicks.
Thank you so much, Dave, and thank you, everybody, for being here this evening. I hope you all have had a wonderful day. We have a lot of interesting news to get into tonight, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, before we do, make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe, ring that bell, whatever it may be on whatever platform you guys are on. As you know, we are on BitChute, we are on X, we are on Rumble, and we are on YouTube, but we ain't got a lot of traction over on YouTube. But if you want to check us out, our big winner for today, ladies and gentlemen, is BitChute, actually, believe it or not. Shout out to you guys over on BitChute. Guys, if you do anything else, please make sure you share this out everywhere and anywhere. Please, please, please repost, retweet, reshare, whatever it may be on whatever platform you may be on. That really, really helps us out and get the name out there as we're trying to grow this channel and grow this network, of course, and grow the show, nonetheless. We bring you excellent information and news 6 nights a week, mixed with a little bit of opinion of common sense, in my opinion. But, of course, that is just my opinion. Let's go ahead and hop into the news rack here and see what we have lined up for today, ladies and gentlemen. Latest breaking news on the Gateway Pundit. President Trump fires USAID Inspector General. He received a letter today saying, on behalf of President Trump, I am writing to inform you that your position as Inspector General of the United States Agency for International Development is terminated, effective immediately. Thank you for your service. One person that was undoubtedly overseeing some of the most corrupt money laundering in all of the world is thankfully out of a job. Retribution, ladies and gentlemen, as well as accountability. Now, I know I wish there was more accountability. I wish he was in cuffs, not sitting in his house, but hopefully in time things will lead down that road. If we're lucky, they'll be trying to gain evidence slowly, and eventually, once they get enough evidence, they'll start holding these people accountable and putting them in cuffs. I know I'm ready to see it, folks. I know a lot of you are too. Liberal analyst says Democrats are committing political suicide by defending USAID spending. Folks, I want you to look at everybody who is out here screaming and yelling about the USAID spending. Think of the ones that are mad that we're finding the corruption and fraud. Why are they screaming so loud? What are they so scared of us finding? What is it that they are so worried about hiding that they're running to federal judges to do their best to give themselves time to cover their butts? Maxine Waters has been screaming from the top of her lungs. She's apparently got a lot on the line with this. Why? Why is she so concerned? As well as Elizabeth Warren. I've noticed that she is about to lose her ever-loving mind because her agency is under request. Now, why would that happen? Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, this isn't a new agency that was set up by President Trump. As we discussed last night, this agency was created by President Obama to digitize everything. And in digitizing everything, they happen to just keep running across more and more fraud, right? So who is screaming the loudest? Who is defending their position against USAID the loudest? Because these people, ladies and gentlemen, are the ones that are losing the most money and have done the most corruption in this country. That is a statement I will stand on. The liberals that are screaming and yelling, the Democrats that are literally committing political suicide by doing this, the American people are over this. More than 80% of the American people voted President Trump in with a mandate. His mandate was to clear the American tax dollar and make it worth something again. The American federal dollar, excuse me. I was hoping there would be something else in this article worth actually talking about, but I don't really see anything. But these are the people that have most likely been getting the biggest kickbacks. These are the ones that are the most corrupt deep state players that are out here screaming. Oh, I'm sure they're not the most. They're pretty corrupt, though. Elon Musk joins Trump at a executive order signing event where the president has mandated federal agencies must work with Doge. Again, I want to remind everybody, Doge is the digital services of the government. I can't remember. It's DSNS, I believe it was, something like that, from last night's story. It also has revealed this audit that has been going on, that there were 150-year-olds collecting Social Security. I heard somebody seen somebody put up on X the other day. Silly MAGA Democrats or Republicans can't do math. 150 years ago, Social Security didn't exist. These people do not have brain cells, folks. Think about that. No, 150-year-olds, and they're still receiving Social Security that they shouldn't be, because I don't know anybody who has made it to 150. If so, it would be all over the news, right? If people were miraculously living to 150 years old with no problem, that would be newsworthy, wouldn't it? But apparently that's not really the case, is it? No, they're collecting Social Security money from people who have been long gone. Fraud, ladies and gentlemen, and it makes you wonder where this money was being funneled to. Was it really being given to American citizens who were defrauding the system, or was it being given to other people who were defrauding the system within the system? I don't know the answer to that question. I'm just asking. But let's hear what President Trump has to say about it.
So maybe we have to look at the judges, because that's very billions and billions of dollars in waste, fraud, and abuse. And I think it's very important. And that's one of the reasons I got elected. I say we're going to do that. Nobody had any idea it was that bad, that sick, and that corrupt. And it seems hard to believe that judges want to try and stop us from looking for corruption, especially when we found hundreds.
Am I the only one that thinks it's baffling that there are judges that are actually siding with the Democrats? And it makes you wonder about these judges, don't it? Because like I said, the ones that are stopping this are the ones that have the most to lose. Are these judges on the take? Why are they allowing the stoppage of an audit? Again, the American people gave Trump a mandate. Fix the government. Audit the government. Right? That's what the American people said when they put him in. Things have gone completely awry. We need to find out what's going on and fix the government. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what he's doing. He's finding corruption. He's fixing the government. He's doing what the American people are asking. And I'm more than happy with what I've got. I am giddy at what President Trump has done so far. Like I'm baffled that we're able to actually see this. And we got stories coming up that's really, really exciting. But let's get back to President Trump for just a second.
Hundreds of millions of dollars worth, much more than that, in just a short period of time. We want to weed out the corruption. And it seems hard to believe that a judge could say, we don't want you to do that. Well, so maybe we have to look at the judges, because that's a very serious, I think it's a very serious violation.
And I agree with him. It is a very serious violation if you're actually saying don't root out corruption. Think about that, folks. Where's the judge at? Where's the article? This judge right here. We'll move the article up. This judge right here wants to keep things corrupt. Why would you want to do that? Why would you fight to stop corruption from being exposed? There's only one reason. You guys know the answer. I don't have to say it, right? Rep. Eli Crane drafts articles of impeachment against Obama appointee Judge Engelmeyer. And it's funny because we have another story right behind this, but this needs to be done. Again, I ask, who would stop corruption from being rooted out but the corrupt? These people are standing up and showing themselves in the spotlight, ladies and gentlemen. You want to know who's dirty? Who's screaming right now? Who's mad at Trump for doing this right now? Who's making the most noise? Those making the most noise have the most to hide. Because they want you to look over here and be mad at him, not be mad at them for the wrong that they have done. And they know they've done. And we know they've done. I can't wait till we uncover Pelosi. That's going to be some of the most beautiful, beautiful retribution ever when we uncover how much she is making. By the way, I believe they also signed articles today, if not, or executive orders. If not, they were at least discussing. It wasn't executive orders. Doge is going to look into, I remembered the story now, going to look into why their government employees making millions more than their salary. That's huge. That's rooting out fraud and corruption. Congress should not be able to bet on the stock market when they control the companies in the stock market by their laws and regulations. Right or wrong? I know we've gotten a bit off track, but it comes back to the fact that you've got a lot of corrupt people in this country, and especially judges that have been sitting on the bench that have been paid for, bought and sold to Soros. Prove me wrong. Maybe he wasn't, but there's got to be another reason then that he's working so hard for the Democrats to cover up all this corruption going on. Are you mad that they're finding corruption? Are you mad that your tax dollars are actually being brought back from these programs? I'm not. I'm mad they were being used on the programs. But I'm not mad that they're bringing them back. Definitely not at all. Here's some of the programs that they were being used on. Oh, hold on. Before we get into that, I got one more story. Like I said, Democrats are losing their mind over this. I keep saying it. Rep Raskin. Here's another one, guys. Put this guy on your list. I hope you have a list of Democrat a Democrat bingo card. There we go. Hope you have a Democrat bingo card with a number of these people on it, because you may hit bingo real quick like. Rep Raskin calls for the impeachment of Elon Musk, ladies and gentlemen. There's only one huge, huge, huge glaring problem with what Raskin has asked for. The problem is that Elon Musk is not elected. By right and definition, he is a bureaucrat. Can we impeach bureaucrats? No, ladies and gentlemen, that's one of the problems. We cannot impeach bureaucrats. He's a bureaucrat that's getting rid of the corrupt bureaucrats and rooting out the evil and garbage going on in the government. He's a good bureaucrat, which that's two words that very rarely go together. But Rep Raskin wants him to be impeached. You can't impeach somebody that wasn't voted into an office. You can impeach a judge, you can impeach a sheriff, you can impeach a president, congressman, all those people. You can't impeach the head of the ATF. You can't impeach the head of the CDC. You can't impeach the head or any member of any of these agencies or organizations. Why? Because they're not elected organizations. That's one of the biggest problems that we have, is we're rooting out these organizations that weren't elected that are trying to control your lives. That's what Doge is there doing, folks. I know I'm preaching to the choir if you're watching this show. But that's exactly what Doge is doing, is rooting out the corruption. And again, those who scream the loudest, Mr. Raskin, have the most to hide. Now, like I was saying, let's get into this story about what they were spending money on, folks, because if you're not aggravated at what they were spending money yet, you ain't been paying attention. We got a couple stories about this coming up. Did I save the other story? I may not have. Yep, there's the other story right there. I did save the other story. We'll come to that here in just a second. Al-Qaeda's terrorist organization had a member that was paid college tuition for the United States by USAID. Al-Awlaki, Aloha Snack Bar Guy, is the name of this person. A new allegation is that the agency, USAID, allegedly provided full funding for the Al-Qaeda terrorist Anwar al-Awlaki, I think it is, Awlaki, however you're supposed to say that, to attend Colorado State University. An American citizen born in New Mexico to Yemeni parents was killed in a drone strike in Yemen in 2011. So an anchor baby. That's what it sounds like to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Good way to get in the country, though, isn't it? al-Awlaki was a central figure of al-Qaeda known to have had contact with Army psychiatrist Nidal Hassan as a spiritual advisor before Hassan's attack at Fort Hood in 2009, which left 13 people dead and injured more than 30. These are the people USAID was paying for, ladies and gentlemen, which directly led to an attack at an army base. You paid for that. You did. If you're listening to this show as an American taxpayer, you paid for that. I paid for that. All the Americans paid for this. For our own doom and destruction, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we were paying for. If that part doesn't aggravate and upset you and get you to want even more for Doge to root out more corruption, I don't know what does. I seen yet another picture the other day, yesterday I think it was, over on X, of another terrorist group holding guns, pew-pews, whatever. I don't like the censorship. And a USAID package was sitting right there next to them, right in the middle of the picture. It's embarrassing, ladies and gentlemen, what the American taxpayer has been forced to pay for. No taxation without representation doesn't mean a whole lot when the representation still wastes everything we give them. New details. There are at least 15 active NIH grants from USAID paying for transgender animal experiments. White Coat Waste, an organization aimed at stopping cruel and wasteful taxpayer-funded vivisections, has identified 15 active National Institute of Health grants paying for transgender animal experiments. One experiment at the University of Alabama of Birmingham cost Uncle Sam $668,250. A sum well spent while studying whether mice receiving so-called gender-affirming hormone therapy responded well to treatments for kidney failure. On mice. You heard that right. They gave them gender-affirming care, transgendered the mice to see how they would fare for a kidney failure. University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, we wasted $2,587,605 turning mice transgender to study testosterone treatment on reproductive phenotype and function and determine the reversibility of these effects following the stoppage of the hormones. So these mice, we turned transgender and seen how well, if at all, we could turn them back. We spent $2.5 million on mice in just this study right here. Over $3 million with the $668,000 from the last study. Let's go even higher, folks. Let's add another $9.7 million. $9,738,868 in Oregon at the Health and Science University to expand and improve knowledge and development in neurological determination of sexual partner preference using domestic sheep as the experimental model. Domestic sheep. We spent $9 million on domestic sheep because the rats weren't telling us enough, I guess. The goal was to turn rams gay. I'm going to repeat that because I did not stutter, and I'm not making it up. It's on your screen. I'll even highlight it. The goal was to turn rams gay by controlling testosterone secretion by the fetal testes. Why? Why would you need to do this research? What American citizen does this help? 0.0001% of the population? Maybe? If you're talking to transgenders? I'm not saying they don't exist. They absolutely do exist. There are just not that many of them. Not in reality. The researchers claim this test is of public interest because fetal development is a time when critical structures and components of the reproductive system are la-di-da-di-da. But that's not all, folks. At Duke University, mice were given sex changes through hormones and surgery to study HIV-induced immune responses. Taxpayer payout, $455,120. University of Mississippi Medical Center got a $65,000 grant titled Cross-Sex Steroid Therapy and Cardiovascular Risk in Transgender Female, which used rats that were given sex changes. I can't believe these words are even coming out of my mouth. I can't believe these are actually stories or things that our government has done. I thought the level of stupid was much lower than this. Turns out it's a lot higher than I gave it credit for. Over at Harvard, a grant titled Life History of the Menstruating Uterus claimed that it was necessary to transition mice because understanding regeneration has important clinical implications. Or insufficient endometrial regeneration gives rise to pathologies that affect I'm not reading that. The lives of women, non-binary people, and transgender men around the world. Harvard got this grant because they are struggling so badly with money. We got just a couple more here. Additional animal studies for transgender included 442,444. I like the 444 at least. Spent at Brigham and Women's Hospital to study molecular mechanisms of hormone-mediated sex differences and wound healing. $2 million to University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, another grant. Dissection of the mechanisms of underlying sex-influenced cardiovascular disease. Another $1 million for more rats, I'm sure. $299,000 to the Beth Israel and Deaconess Medical Center, gender-affirming testosterone therapy on breast cancer risk and treatment. $700,000, microbiome-mediated effects of gender-affirming hormone therapy in more mice. How many mice do we buy, ladies and gentlemen? I swear we spend billions. We're already well into the millions, and this is what we know about. I swear we've almost hit billions, right? Maybe not. Maybe I'm being a bit exaggerative. Okay, a couple $100 million on mice. On mice. The grant summary states, our studies will be the first to characterize estrogen-medicated mechanisms of inflammation. Oh, wait a second. That's another grant for $3 million awarded to Indiana University. Gonadal hormones as mediators of gender and influence in asthma. Your tax dollars were paying for all of this. All of these millions that I'm reading off here, ladies and gentlemen, was your tax money, my tax money. This is what it went towards, not defending our country, not growing small businesses, not helping the American citizen by any point, factor, or way whatsoever, studying transgender mice. That's what your tax dollars went towards. You're not mad enough at these people for doing this to you. And if you think you are, you're not. Because it's only getting worse. Johns Hopkins scientists given 48,000 understand how chromosome makeup and cross-sexual hormone administration affects healing in mice. Another 245 million. In all. Here we go. Here's our grand total. In all, we have wasted $245 million. I was a little bit off. Your taxpayer dollars have bought $245 million in mice and rats to test transgenderism. That's right. I wish I made that story up, ladies and gentlemen. I don't even think I could have made that story up. Trump White House blocks far-left Associated Press from Oval Office. So the AP, ladies and gentlemen, has decided that they get to be the arbiters of truth once again, as they always have thought they were. They're not. Spoiler alert. They decided that the Gulf of America being renamed didn't matter, and they weren't going to acknowledge that. And we're possibly going to use both, the Gulf of America or the Gulf of Mexico. Trump said, okay, if you refuse to acknowledge this presidential order, then we refuse to acknowledge you as an organization of journalism. Goodbye. You're not allowed in the White House. I love seeing these fake propagandic journalists getting handed to them absolutely what they deserve. Am I wrong for that? It opens up, and I love the fact that they've opened it up to people like you and me. If we're headed to Washington, and if you want to go into the press room as a citizen journalist, all you have to do is request it on their website. That's it. You don't have to go through some kind of, like I said yesterday, some kind of special permit process to be a journalist in this country. If you have a cell phone, you're a journalist. If you have a camera, according to the Supreme Court, you're a journalist. Speaker Johnson takes a shot at Democrat hypocrites for touting rule of law after cheering Biden's lawlessness for 4 years. Remember, when they're in power, it don't matter. The mainstream media screams for them. They can be lawless, destroy cities, do whatever they want. By the way, how many people from the Summer of Love have been put into the gulags? Still waiting on that to happen. Oh, they were on the left. I see. That's called corruption, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I love Speaker Mike Johnson and what he's doing here. When it comes to the Democrats, look who's screaming the loudest. They're the ones that have the most to hide or lose. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot be excited about more. I know a lot of you guys don't like the paranormal, don't like the weird, but you do like declassification, and I have got a story for you. Chairman Comer taps Representative Ana Paulina Luna, cutie that she is, to be the head of a task force of declassification of federal secrets. That's a task force I can get behind, ladies and gentlemen. Declassifications of records concerning the assassination of President Kennedy, Senator Kennedy, and Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, among other things. She will also be giving out UFO secrets, I do believe. And it isn't as weird as you think, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't believe in UFOs, you may be behind the times at this point. And I say that with a straight face. UFO Fund, a new ETF filed with the SEC. This is real, ladies and gentlemen. You can go look it up yourself. Aims to invest in, and I quote, reverse engineered alien technology, end quote. And I don't mean alien technology from Russia or China or Japan. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean alien technology from outside of this world. That's not me speaking. I didn't write this headline. You're looking at the headline too. Apparently there's something to it, or they wouldn't make such a fund. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, through going through and digitizing all of this information, it turns out that the FBI has just discovered 2,400 undisclosed records tied to the JFK assassination that were never provided to the review board. They just happened to stumble upon 2,400 extra documents. I could only imagine what is going to come out in these documents. But this is something else they've kicked up by doing these audits. Ladies and gentlemen, we are hashtag winning in this country. every single day. I can't express how much with President Trump we are winning and how much more the American people are behind him every second for what he is doing. If there's one thing you take away from this show, ladies and gentlemen, let it be this. Going forward, listen specifically and note down who's screaming the loudest against President Trump doing what he's doing. Who wants corruption in our government? Because that's exactly what they're saying. If they're screaming about not wanting Trump to do what he's doing, they're screaming that they want corruption within their system. I'm going to leave you guys on a question tonight. You guys know that I've had a lot of issues over on TikTok. And I blew the channel up over there. I left them a one-finger salute and I was out the door. But do you guys think they deserve a second chance? Do you think that maybe I was too hard on them? Maybe I should give them a shot, a second shot. Let me know what you guys think. Because I'm torn. I don't know. Is it worth it, ladies and gentlemen? Is it worth going over there to that platform and being censored and being told what I can and cannot say and not allowing my shows up over there? Or should I just put up little cat videos and see what I can do? What do you guys think? Let me know. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf. I hope everybody's enjoyed tonight's show. That was Habit. I'm Jerry Hicks. This is the Jerry Hicks Show. I hope everybody's enjoyed. Make sure you like, subscribe, share. Over on BitChute, over on X, over on Rumble. Of course, we're also on YouTube. YouTube will actually send our stuff out. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, remember, until next we meet, stay awake, but dare to dream. Also, we're part of the Censored Freedom Network. Ladies and gentlemen, I almost forgot. Check out Censored Freedom Network over on X. Shout out there. We do Censored Freedom shows every Sunday. Again, until tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, stay awake, but dare to dream.